Hey, hello friends. Welcome to What's Going On. I am your host, Ben, and it's time to just bring in a bunch of my favorite funny people to just chat about the week and, find out what's going on. So let's do that. Let's bring them in. First person I'd like to bring in is Lisa. Lisa, welcome to the show. Yeah.
Hi.
Ashley, come on in. Beautiful, Ashley. Great timing. Fantastic. Jess, crushing it. There it is. Tooky, what's going on?
It's me. Hi.
Bacon. And of course, Brandi, what's going on? And as always, Matt is going to be popping in and out to just say whatever he wants to say. Whenever you want to pop in, my friend, you just let me know, and you just come on in with us.
I'm going to be doing what Ashley's doing, so
just fire it hot whenever you want.
I'll be back in.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Let's just jump right into it. What I asked everybody to do, if this is your first time watching, is bring either a story or a non-political news segment or story of and we'll all just talk about it, and we'll see if we can start making connections. Last week we made a lot of really interesting unexpected connections through all the stories, so we'll be looking to do that and just messing around. And if anybody in the chat has any questions or has any stories themselves or opinions, throw them at us. This is the time to do it. This is the time to really let us know what you're feeling and to let us know what's going on. There it is. I think that's up to 3 this week. We had 9 what's going on last week. Let's jump right into it. Lisa, did you bring a story?
I did. It's a story of something that just tickled me. I mean, I feel bad for him, but anyway, we'll get to that. So over the summer, I got appendicitis, and had to go to the hospital. I'm gonna do a little divergence from the regular story, just so that to give a little context. I had appendicitis for 5 days before going to the hospital. That's not recommended. That's too many days. You're supposed to go right away.
And you were ignoring massive pain the whole time, right? I mean,
yes, I had massive pain, and I thought, I think this is just getting older. This is what getting older feels like. Everyone says it hurts.
What?
Anyway. So anyway, I didn't die because my fallopian tube inflamed and pinned my appendix into place so it didn't burst. But anyway, because of that, they weren't able to operate immediately. So I had to spend the night in the hospital, and they gave me antibiotics to bring down the infection and the inflammation. So I went to the hospital for the first time in my life during a pandemic, and I was all alone, and I didn't know what was happening, and they didn't let me eat for so long, and I was like disoriented, and I didn't really sleep the whole night, and like I was like hungry and confused and disoriented and angry and sad. And I was leaving the hospital, and still fighting an infection, but they finally let me go in the morning. They were like, you're good enough, you're getting better, so we're just going to give you a bunch of antibiotics. You have to take like a ton of antibiotics for like 2 weeks. You'll come back later, we'll take the appendix out. So I was like, okay. So I'm like delirious, leaving the hospital, kind of like, oh, okay. And I'm like, just really wanting to get my roommate's car. She's going to take me home. And I get to the front of the hospital, and there's like this big revolving door, and it's like the only way in or out of the hospital. And so I'm like waiting, and this group of like 4 or 5 like middle-aged people kind of come around in like the big chunk of the revolving door, and then all 4 or 5 of them kind of start to just stand in front of the revolving door, and everybody's kind of like looking around and not really sure where to go, and they're just sort of in a little clump, kind of like, and I'm like, how do I get out of here? Like, it's COVID. I don't want to get close to any of them. They've like spread out, and they're all kind of just like standing in place, like sort of turning.
People,
and I was kind of like
a quick divergence. And I think we can all agree here. People who walk through a door and then stop in major thoroughfare.
Top of an escalator. Top of an escalator drives me wild.
They have their own circle of hell, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And those are the things I was feeling. And those were the irritations also that the woman at the front desk was feeling when she said, excuse me, what are you looking for? And I'm like irritated at them, and she's irritated at them. And one of the men who's kind of in the middle goes, I'm looking for the emergency room. I think I broke my wrist. And then he puts his hand up, and his wrist is like falling off of his arm. And he's just holding it up like this. And I'm just like, ah!
Oh no.
And the woman is like, oh! And then we're like, now she and I are both kind of as stunned as they are. Like, we are now in their mindset, and we get it. Like, they're all just in shock and don't know what to do. And she was kind of like, oh my God, okay, it's that way. And they went to go, like, to the ER, and I was just like, oh dear, that's not what I was expecting at all.
What a large group of people to go. They must have all been like tourists together or something, and he fell.
Yeah, I don't know. And it was a large group, and there was no one in charge. Like, I kind of felt like if you brought like one good friend who could find the ER for you, but they were all equally like disoriented.
Yeah, the fact that he had to ask for it seems weird. Yeah. Right? Like, you'd think
she asked, and there was a pause too after she asked. Everybody was kind of like looking at each other, like, "What should we say?" And I'm like, very clearly say his wrist is broken.
Now I'm thinking maybe it was sketchy, right? Like, what?
Sketchy how? What would they have been doing?
I don't know. Maybe they all were doing something wrong, and his wrist broke.
Seems sus to me.
What's that, Bacon?
Illegal skateboarding, probably.
Yeah, or Fight Club.
Fight Club.
And they didn't get very far.
No.
They threw one punch, and then they all had to go to the
talk about it. So, like,
Harry Potter 2
they were thrown.
If they're a secret fight club, they might not even know who each other are, which would explain the awkwardness of them going to the hospital together. Like they just met in an old warehouse and they're like, I guess we go with him.
Yeah. I don't even know his name. Do I have to go?
Yes.
He broke his wrist on your face. You got to go.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not my fault. He's got weak wrists. It's not.
I bet.
Oh, Harry Potter 2 arm. Oh, I get it. I was reading it Harry Potter 2 arm.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, Harry Potter has 2 arms.
Harry Potter with his 2 arms.
Harry Potter 2 arms.
His bone. Someone shrunk his bones, is what that was saying. Someone shrunk this old man's bones.
He broke his bone, and then what's his face? Gilderoy Lockhart tried to fix it and just removed the bones altogether.
Two Harry.
Harry Potter Tokyo Drift.
It's a whole universe now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't have my appendix anymore.
Was your reaction to that at all because you were on drugs and sort of and like was the shock of seeing? Because I've seen a couple horrific accidents, and yeah, it sort of snaps you into reality, right? In a way.
Yeah, I think it was partially I was very disoriented and like really just wanting to get. It's one of those moments where you know something's happening, but you just don't care and you just want to be out of it. You know, like you're like, I can sense that something's off here, but like I can't care about it. And so you overlook things and you're just focused on like one directive goal. And so it was one of those moments where I was like, my goal is to exit this hospital. And so I was so surprised because I just was like not interested in these people at all. And then all of a sudden I was very interested. I was like, who are you? What are you doing here? I just had so many questions for them but I couldn't ask them because they had an emergency. But he was so nonchalant too. I think that caught me off guard because he seemed, even when he was saying, I think my wrist is broken, and if he hadn't put his wrist up, I would have been like, your wrist can't be broken because you would be, you know, you would talk. It would sound like you weren't just talking about like the grocery store.
Probably in shock, I would assume. If his wrist was like super messed up, he was probably, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't know where the ER was, so that's a sign he was not in the right mind. There's always like big signage at the hospital ever. It's like ER. So
yeah. When you're just
but I guess because they walked into like the front, which wasn't the ER. Because I had walked into the ER earlier, which was a weird experience because, again, I thought that I was just experiencing the pain of aging, and I went into the ER, and I was like, I feel like I shouldn't be here. This isn't like... I felt weird walking into the ER. I feel like you're supposed to be carried into the ER, you know? And maybe this is why I didn't go to the hospital.
Also, question.
So I felt like if I didn't have to be carried, I didn't belong in the ER.
Also, were you walking yourself out of the hospital?
Yeah.
Because I thought that there was a rule that like you had to go out in a wheelchair.
Well,
like,
actually,
they
you're right.
you up with antibiotics, and then we're like, all right, walk yourself to your car and drive home.
Well, here's the thing. Actually, you're right. They did take me in a wheelchair, but the guy took me in the wheelchair down to the lobby. And then I was like, my roommate isn't here yet, but like COVID, like I think I'm gonna wait outside. Can I go? And he was like, yeah, you could go. Like what? But I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to get out of the wheelchair. He's like, yeah, I brought you to the lobby. Go home. And I was like, oh, okay, so you're not going to take me to the car. You
can't see me in the lobby.
Are you my dad now?
I sat in the wheelchair for a minute, being like, should I ask if I can get out? But then I was like, I don't think because I had also heard that you're not allowed to leave, not in the wheelchair. Everything I knew about hospitals, I learned from Scrubs.
Yeah.
So
I think
like,
once you like get to the door, you're free to go. It's just like it's like how shoplifting. Like if you get to the door and run away, they can't like tackle you.
Or like the Old North Bridge with the Headless Horseman. If you make it to the bridge, they can't get you anymore.
They have to let you go.
Idea.
Equal.
I like the idea of like you're shoplifting and you get caught because on your way out some guy came in with a broken wrist and you got distracted.
That's why I never shoplift from the hospital gift shop.
Risky.
It is risky. But yeah, so like they did. But yeah, all I knew about hospitals I learned from Scrubs, so I was like operating off of like And Scrubs is like fairly accurate, I've heard. And it felt right. It felt right. Like when I was in the hospital, I was like, yeah, this checks out. This could have happened in Scrubs. If anything happened that I felt like wouldn't have happened in Scrubs, I would have caused alarm. But everything that happened felt like it could have been in Scrubs. So I was like, this is fine.
Was there like a wacky janitor who was...
There's a penny in the door.
No, there was just somebody who gave me a curtain because I didn't have a curtain originally.
Were they pumping in indie pop music?
Did you hear?
Yeah, they played 99 Luftballoons.
My ex's sister was a PA, and she said that of the Doctor TV shows, Scrubs is the most accurate.
See, I've heard that too, and I agree based on my one experience of being.
All I know is
You
that
heard it here.
Wait, Brandi, get what?
in the UK they had to so when the pandemic hit, they basically had a bunch of real ventilators on doctor shows in the UK. So they just like cleared out the set and they're like, yeah, take our ventilators. So they're just ventilators all on these doctor shows.
Wow.
So maybe the
So they could have really done doctor stuff on Scrubs.
I don't know about Scrubs, but clearly there's one in the UK that could have been an ICU. What if you were like on set? Like you like passed out and then you woke up and they like just put you on a TV set for like overflow.
Amazing.
I'm just horrified by the idea of house hoarding supplies. That's
Yeah.
ugh.
Wait, Doctor House?
Yeah.
MD. Yeah.
Like the show house hoarding.
I felt like House
supplies,
and
I
Bones
imagine.
took place on the same set. Like I don't know why, it just felt like it.
A lot of shows are on the same set.
I would think there'd be like a
As each
hospital
other.
that they all film at. Because why wouldn't there be like the hospital? Why wouldn't you just build a hospital that basically?
Well, House didn't even really look like a hospital though.
No.
So
It was like a spaceship hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like
this
a
is, I think-
CSI room, right? Like all the what it said glass rooms. And
Yeah.
stuff. You're like, there's no
Like
glass
how you
rooms in a
X-ray, it
hospital.
was like some giant Cybertron machine. That could have just
The
been
important thing, I think, is that I haven't seen any doctor show except Scrubs.
Okay.
So when you say it's the most authentic to you, you have nothing to compare it to.
Well, so I wasn't sitting there like, oh, this doesn't feel like House, things are going wrong. Or like Grey's Anatomy. Or like
Gilligan's Island. They have a doctor on that.
I saw a tweet from someone who said that like it was like a pediatrician or someone, and they were treating a patient, and the patient looked at them and they're like, this is nothing like Grey's Anatomy. All the doctors on that show are hot. And then like the doctor's like, oh man, like this got owned by a teen.
Oh, gut punch.
There was a real lack of hot doctors when I was in the hospital. I will say that. They weren't as hot as I thought they were, and I was okay with that. I sort of want my doctor to be a complete loser who only cares about medicine. You know what I mean? Like, give me the guy who's got nothing on his schedule. He's like, I guess I'm going to go home and read that medical journal again. Right? That's what
My
I want.
doctor is my gynecologist is an elected official here. So it's very weird. I hope I never like see her at any Democratic Party functions because I'll be like, you've seen things and we know it. And it's just super
wow,
weird.
that is a power move
Yeah.
to like be a gynecologist and also run things.
Yeah, like, she's like a state legislator, and I was like, she's really cool. And I was like, yeah, I hope I never we've seen things because I'm just like, once you introduce, like,
Can you accuse her of bias? Like, I think you're biased because she has a nicer vagina than me. I know you've seen both our vaginas, but you clearly prefer her vagina. Do you think?
I
Someone's
don't
ever
know
said
who
that
else
to
her
her?
patients are, but I'm just like, man. Like,
But if you did know, that's where the power lies.
well, I know
Gotta
it's
get
the
the start.
same general practice that Amy Klobuchar goes to because Amy Klobuchar released her records, but I don't think that my doctor is Amy Klobuchar's doctor. So, but it'd be really weird if she was. I'd just be like,
But you could probably find out from maybe Klobuchar's doctor.
Yeah, I was like, they just gossip about vaginas all day.
Yeah.
Like, girl.
Yeah, Tina wants to know if my appendix was removed.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
You should probably
removed.
finish that story really quickly.
Yeah, see, for me, the end of the story was the guy with the broken wrist, but I guess it is a cliffhanger. You could say it's a cliffhanger. It was late June that I had appendicitis. 2 months later, they did remove my appendix. That went off pretty well. it took like 2 months later because this is the thing. So he said, the doctor was like, this happens like once or twice a year. A young woman, usually your age, comes in. She's like, I don't think anything's wrong, but like I've been having this pain for a little while. And then we went in. So the way he described what my CT scan looked like, because he came in and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I feel fine. I don't know if I should really be here. And he was like, yeah, okay. And then he said, well, I looked at your CT scan and it looks like a bomb went off inside of you. And that's a quote.
So we can wait 2 months. Yeah.
Well, no. So here's the problem is that because my fallopian tube, remember, it
Right.
saved my life. Thank you. And it had like formed what they called a wall around my appendix. So they couldn't operate because they would have had to like remove my fallopian tube from the appendix. So I don't know, but I don't know. But they had to. They couldn't have done the laparoscopic surgery. They would have had to like cut me open and like
I'd go with
move
that.
stuff around. They usually try not to touch anything that they don't have to in surgery. Is what I've learned, not from Scrubs.
On Scrubs, they touch everything.
And on Scrubs, they open people up and they take everything out and then they just put it back in. I'm sorry, Tooky.
I think I saw something on an episode of DuckTales.
Yeah.
That and the Civil War episode of DuckTales were the most memorable ones.
What happened in that?
There was a Civil War. Like they went to the U.S. Civil War. I mean, I could tell that as my story when we get to me. But
No, go ahead. Keep going now.
all right.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad
I mean,
we'll keep letting people wait to know if my appendix is in or out. I like that. Go ahead.
We'll come back to it.
So basically, what happened on this episode of DuckTales is that what's his name? The bad the Harrison Ford duck who crashed all the time. Launchpad. Yeah, he was invited to go to like this other duck town for some Civil War like reenactment thing, and then he gets there, and it turns out that it was like a Confederate town, and he was cool. his like great grandpa, which brings up a lot of questions about the lifespan of ducks. His great-great-grandpa like lost the war. He was like a Union guy, and the his like platoon or whatever just was like, oh hell no, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And the guy like Launchpad's great-great-grandpa like flew down in a hot air balloon, and the horse was really dumb, and it was just like, yeah, it's the dumbest. I wrote like a thread about it where it's just. So basically, they found that like there were these dogs there that were like sounded like Jeff Sessions, and they were the bad guys, and there was like a giant Confederate flag in this episode. And eventually, Launchpad is like, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna do this reenactment, but I'm just gonna like go off script and make sure the Union wins. and like,
oh no.
Yeah, so basically, they found so they go off script. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are like, uh-oh, something is amiss. And then there's this like large portly duck who's always just taking pictures of the chaos, and I love that duck. I called him Thick Duck. Thick Duck was taking pictures.
Thick Duck.
I'll Google Thick Duck real quick.
Yeah, I spelled it with 2 C's. It'll probably pull up my Twitter account. Because I just live tweeted this whole thing one day. So then I feel like some of these are pictures from my Twitter account. But anyway, like so at one point they go into the Launchpad goes into this cave, and he finds all these ducks that like just hid out there during the Civil War. Like they were all young men, but now they're old ducks, and they're just like, is the war over? And he's like, why are you guys in here? And it's very odd. But eventually they fired cannons of grits on the Confederates, and then they won. And then no questions were answered by this. I mean, I'll drop the link to the thread because it's more clear. But my questions are, one, what the fuck were they fighting about? Like, was there duck slavery? Maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was this a separate Civil War from?
They used the Confederate flag. I don't know, and there were like a lot of dogs and pigs in the Confederate town. So I don't know if like I don't know which side was which, who was enslaving whomst.
Tooky, you look like you've got some questions.
They threw grit.
Yeah, they fired grits at their face. And I was like, that scene where they had their little bayonets pointed at them, they fired grits right after that.
Okay.
So
Holy cow.
It's Black History Month, and I'm hyper aware of everything, and that feels racist. I know it's not, but it feels.
The whole episode
feels
is racist.
racist.
The whole
Yeah.
episode feels racist. There's a giant Confederate flag in the town square. Point blank, it's racist. There's a dog that sounds like Jeff Sessions, and also, why is the dog's last name like Duck Feathers? Probably the same reason that all the black people in America's last name is Washington. I don't know. Like, there are no white Washingtons. Like, that's another fun fact.
Or Jeffersons, or Jacksons.
I know white Jacksons and I know white Jeffersons. I do not know a white Washington. There are like 7 of them. And in the war, no, there are like 7 of them. They were on Oprah once apparently, and they're all like descendants.
What qualified them to be on Oprah?
Because they're white Washingtons.
They were the only 7.
They're only if your last name is Washington and you're white and you didn't marry a black person, you're probably definitely a George Washington descendant. There aren't white Washingtons really.
It says here, Disney Plus does not have this episode.
It's on YouTube.
How curious.
I'm sure there's no reason.
Why?
Anyway,
That's
they don't have songs
related,
itself
though.
either.
The grits thing. So I went to Cal Poly, and they have this. They have a rivalry, a soccer rivalry with UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara, and UC Santa Barbara is the Gauchos, and like we have this one like game a year where like they play each other. I transferred out of there and hold no allegiance to that school. I won't say we, but they have like a game and a rivalry, and they all are like, "Buck the Gauchos." But one of the things that they do during the game is that all of like the Cal Poly students bring like tortillas and like throw them on the field.
Nope.
That happened here. So there's a public school, St. Louis Park, and there are a lot of Jewish students there. I remember this in like the early 90s, and people would like throw bagels, and they interviewed this kid, and the news are like, "This is really anti-Semitic," and the guy's like, "We're just having fun because I'm Jewish," and everyone's like, "Nope, no, what is wrong with you?" Ugh.
Yeah, they got to the point because they didn't want the students to be doing that anymore, so they got to the point where they like would be like patting people down when they came into the game to see if they had any tortillas.
For tortillas?
Yeah.
Got tortillas sniffing dogs.
I wish I still had
swear to God, if you bring a
right.
tortilla into this, you have to go home.
Now that's a hard thing to stop somebody from because they're flat. You could have so many tortillas on you, and it would be very hard to know.
Easiest thing to sneak in.
It's a
I
hard.
just dropped it in the
thing to
private chat.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
But yeah, it reminded me of that, like, because that's like a, yeah.
Rachel says what she. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Wow,
Oh my
that's really
gosh.
wild that happened. It's funny what people thought was like a
Sporting
good
events, what people
idea.
do at sporting events is horrific. People are the worst, especially when it comes to sports and opposite teams. It's
Oh, well, sometimes it's not even in the arena because, Boston.
oof.
Death forever to whoever pooped in Bill Russell's bed.
What?
What?
Wait, what?
What?
Wait,
Say
you guys
more.
know that story?
No,
Say no.
please.
Oh my God. Back when I think this was, first of all, like a bunch of highs to the chat. Hi, Bella. Tis a llama, does not spit. Hi, Tina. Hi, Shion. Hi, heart you all. So like way back in the day, because Boston, nothing's changed, but way back in the day, when Bill Russell, I believe, was simultaneously starting as coach and still playing for the Celtics. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but like after again, oh no, it wasn't. It was when he first moved to town. That's what it was. It was when he first got drafted onto the Celtics. And if you've seen old photos of the Boston Celtics, it's a Hellman's commercial. It is Miracle Whip and Daisy Dukes. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Their coach was one of those old, like and these coaches are gone. And
Yeah.
while I'm glad that the racism is gone, I do miss the old man coach who is in no way athletic, right? They smoke a cigar and they're overweight and they wear a hat, and it's the best.
You could smell Red Auerbach from 10 stands up. It's disgusting. But the Celtics were traditionally like a very, like the team makeup made my suit look beige. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a very white team at one point. So Bill Russell comes on the team, and because Boston, someone found his house and just pooped in his bed while he was out.
They
So
went into his house and pooped. I mean, that is really
Wait,
really-
okay. When you started explaining this, my assumption was going to be that it was like a teammate in like a hotel room.
Nah.
Some person
Yes.
found his
into his house and pooped
Yes.
in his bed.
Yes. And because it's Boston, I feel like the poop also yelled a racial slur.
It was probably
Like,
the mayor. Honestly, it was probably the mayor. The cops let him
Props.
in. Probably the Boston mayor.
I mean, Boston's mayor from way before Menino was literally named Kevin White. Like Boston, like come on, Boston.
And that was all he did to run. That was
Yes.
he just told people.
Yes.
I'm glad that I can have this chat because I found that black people from Boston get really mad whenever anyone else in the country points out that Boston is racist. We're like, no, everywhere is racist. But like black people in Boston are like ready to fight. And we're like, okay. Like
Nah, you gotta own the brand. Own the brand. I know what it is.
they get
Brandi,
so mad.
Brandi, you've recently become part of Brandi, you've recently become part of the Boston comedy scene.
Yes.
Can you give some just impressions of Boston based on
Well, here's the thing.
your interactions therein?
I went to college in Western Massachusetts, like on the complete other side, and I've met several people from Boston. They were all lovely, although they were a bit hysterical. Like I'm from Minnesota, so like I'm not expecting my sports team to do well. They're all cursed by default. But like people from Boston would like cry all the time if their baseball team didn't do anything. I'm like, whatever. It's like the Vikings. If we cried, like our tears would freeze. I mean, whatever. But like they're just very emotional, and they're very. Like, I would rather deal with, like, overly proud New Yorkers than overly proud Bostonites, no offense. Because, like, I don't know, Boston just thinks that they're, like, unique in a way that, like, other cities don't. Like, I don't know. I'm from Minneapolis, and Minnesota always thinks they're exceptional or, like, they're super nice.
No, New England definitely has an air of exceptionalism. Like we are in New England. We've lived a tough, long time, and we know
Everyone's
nobody
like,
else could do this. And
Yeah.
you're like, please, people do this everywhere.
yeah, they're just like, everywhere else is racist. And we're like, right. Yeah, you guys are the only ones who say everyone else is racist when we point out that you're racist. like Chicago will be like, yup. And Boston's like, no, everywhere. What about Chicago? We're like, yeah, Chicago just copped being racist.
It's impossible to lie about Chicago because it's so like clearly defined by the neighborhoods and where everybody like how everything is set up. It's impossible. And
Boston's
actually,
similar that way.
if there's any place that has an air about itself that shouldn't, I've always been a Bears fan, even though I grew up in California and then I moved to Wisconsin. And do you guys remember starter jackets? I don't know, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Starter.
No, what? No.
Right.
Everybody's nodding like this is normal. What?
That's what it is either, Lisa.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, starter jackets were like these team jackets. Some of them were satin, I believe, the nice ones.
Yeah.
And they were like pullover jackets, and they had the front pouch, and they had like your sports team. So like,
They had your logo and the colors, and they were like
Very
the
90s.
thing to wear in the
I got you now.
90s.
I didn't know there was a
Like
name.
Like a windbreaker?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Are they windbreakers?
they were kind of heavier.
Okay.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so
Okay.
with me, this is something that I grew up really poor and I could never have this. But when I moved to Wisconsin, I finally moved in with my dad and we had a little bit of money. And for Christmas, I wanted nothing more than a Chicago Bears starter jacket. And I was like, I don't know, 12. Didn't really totally understand like how angry people get at sports. And the Packers are Green Bay and they hate the Bears. And I was so excited to wear this starter jacket to the bus stop and couldn't wait. Like as soon as Christmas vacation, I was just like thinking I'd like wear it to bed. I was like so excited for it. I wore it out to the bus stop in the freezing cold, goddamn Wisconsin. I hate it. So goddamn cold. And kids took turns spitting on my jacket because they hated it so much. and that has caused me to, like.
You can't wear neighboring stuff. It's like going to Ohio with a Michigan thing. You
Well-
can't you
Well,
can't do
also
that
in
shit.
in Boston when I first moved here, the very first day I moved here, I had I was just sweaty and gross, so I threw on a hat, just kind of like now, and I just threw on a Cubs hat, and I was walking down the street, and someone just yelled out their car, "Cubs fucking suck." I'm like, we're not even.
That happened to me. I wore a Warriors shirt, and I was walking down the street, and this construction worker guy was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Uh-oh." He was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "What?"
Like, I
And
broke
he was
my
like,
wrist.
"Why are you wearing that shirt?" And I was
You know where the ER is?
just looking for the yard.
Somebody broke my wrist because I was wearing a different jersey.
Yeah. And he was just like, why are you wearing that? And I was like, I don't know, it's a shirt I own. And he was like, nah. I was like, okay, sorry.
Nah.
Out of all the things to get upset about, it's
I also just hate driving in Boston. I drove in. Okay, so normally what I would do, so I was at Williams, so I'd drive in on Route 2. I'd leave my car at Alewife, and I'd take a train in. But I was running late. I had an interview in Chinatown, I think, at an ad agency. This was 2005. And I was like, I'll just wing it. And I had OnStar in my car, but it was 2005. I had nothing else. And so OnStar just basically what they do is they download the directions for you and they kind of read them to you. And at one point they were just like, oh no, that's a different Beacon Street. And then they were just
They live talk to you?
There's
In the
no, yeah,
robot voice?
there's nothing. No, it was like a person on the phone. They're just
Somebody's reading that quest to you?
yeah,
Do
basically.
you not know OnStar? OnStar is incredible.
Oh, I'm
And
not-
so I have a car from
Really?
2005 too. It has OnStar. It's so funny. You just call the people.
Basically, there's nothing you ever want to not hear. One thing I never want to hear again is, "Oh no, you're lost." I called you. But and
Well,
then
that sucks, dude.
Yeah,
Good
I got
luck.
to the interview. So I got to the interview. I was supposed to get to another interview at MIT for a different thing. And then I was going to go to Somerville to hang out with my friend. I get to her house at 10. I'm just crossing the river over and over again. I get to her house at 10 p.m. I was supposed to be there at 7. She opens the door and I just start crying. I'm like, I hate it here. I'm going back to Williamstown.
It's true that within Boston, Somerville, Cambridge area, you can have 3 or 4 different streets named the same exact thing, all within 2 miles of each other.
And then
Yeah, you have to be really careful in an Uber that you got the right town.
Mhm.
Because if you put the right address in the wrong town, you're just gonna go somewhere really wrong.
Yeah. And then at one point I was driving on the median and nobody cared. I'm like, yep, this is Boston driving. It's very Boston.
Oh, as a former MIT employee, you didn't need that interview.
Yeah, I was looking at their media studies program and yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, and today's sponsor, MIT.
MIT's in a real tough time right now. They've taken to sponsoring Twitch comedy shows.
Hey, we have the finest minds in Boston here, so this is exactly.
God, I hope not. I really hope not, honestly.
A real
Also brought
brain
by
trust
Carter.
right here.
That would be rough for everyone, I think, on the planet.
Ashley, share your story with us.
Okay, I would love to. Thank you for asking me, Ben. My story that I in no way found right before the show started was six people were arrested because they vandalized the Hollywood sign to read Hollyboob.
Yeah.
Oh,
And my favorite part is that they were apparently doing it to protest Instagram not letting boobs be on, which is
I think
insane.
We actually, no pun intended, touched on this last week on the show, and what they also were trying to do, which is hilarious, is they were like, we're trying to bring awareness to breast cancer, but people were like, how does that? People already know about breast. That's not gonna.
So they had multiple reasons for doing it, which makes me feel like they're just spitballing. You know what I mean? They're getting they're at the top of the hill. Helicopters come first because the authorities won't go up there. They'll just send a helicopter to intimidate you till you get down. And so the helicopter's up there circling. They finally climb down and they have that whole way down to go, okay, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And like, there's one guy who's like breast cancer, and someone else is like Instagram, and they're like, you guys, we have to agree before we get to the bottom of the hill. And they
No. And then we thought about it the entire
Yeah, and then that's why it's different because they had really strong opinions, and
Yeah.
they were like, "I'm dying with
the
my
group was
story."
split. The group was split, and like one guy would not let go of his idea. You know what I mean?
I thought it was much better. A couple of years ago, a dispensary changed it so that it read Hollyweed. I don't know if we can find a pic of that, but I was like, they really had to.
Well, and that's a
work
significant
on.
change.
That's what I mean. That they changed multiple letters.
impressive.
It was a little bit more impressive. This they just added one B, and then on the D they didn't even make it a B. They just added a line to the D.
Yeah, I have a picture here. It's pretty sloppy.
Hey, Matt's bringing it up right here. There it is.
Nice.
Like that's
Hollyweed,
impressive.
that's good. That's
That's
good.
impressive.
for stoners.
Oh yeah.
But you know what they're really
Yeah.
good at?
They use stickers.
Hiking and get right up in there.
That's very smart.
And you know
You
what
know,
they
there's-
said when they got to the bottom? They said, "Cause weed."
They should
Yeah.
change it to Holly Penis. They could change it to Holly Penis.
They would
That's
need
a lot
another
of-
letter.
You have to add letters. You have
They
to
should
add
just
letters.
make it Dickwood and then just get rid
Yeah.
of one of the letters.
Or just
Oh,
dick. Just have a dick.
Tear the whole sign down and just replace it with the word "dick."
Dick.
I was picturing a drawing of a dick.
Like I said, that's the
Oh.
greatest minds.
MIT
Vote on
couldn't
it.
do this. This is like a beautiful mind. It's just
Why are
like
they
John
sponsored
Nash
Mensa?
imagining dicks.
Well, I never noticed until you showed me that picture that there's like a grid behind the letters of like scaffolding. So like they're asking you to change the letters. Like they've created like a light bright for you, and you have to just like put the.
They should make it so that you can pay to change the sign like one night a month. Like nothing like Dick Wood or anything. But that would be hilarious.
Dick.
But like
I like that you're monetizing the Hollywood
Yeah, like-
sign.
Holly
for breast
birthday,
cancer.
Michael.
All the money goes to breast cancer.
I don't want to give money to breast cancer. It's the bad guy.
That's a
What
good
about
point.
Instagram? They won't let boobs on.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
See, should have.
I feel like I'm there with them while they're fighting about this. I feel like I'm-
It wasn't intelligent. The
We're
argument.
getting arrested either way. Can we just not fight?
I don't want to see it.
Somebody runs back up and changes it to Holly Free. Like, let us out! Don't arrest us!
Free our bride.
now it's for freeing. You should free the people who got arrested
Free our
for
bride.
changing the sign.
It's a cycle.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's good
Oh.
vandalism, though. I feel like a lot of vandalism, and I'm not talking about great graffiti or really good street art. I'm talking about just straight vandalism where you fuck around with something. Most of it I don't really like, but that's great. Like to me, I think that's very funny. Hurts nobody, is temporary, so you can fix it. That's worth a good laugh. I hope they don't get in too much trouble.
Sorry.
And
Yeah,
They were
unless
all
they're
killed
bad
already.
people to begin with. What?
Ashley, you hope they were all killed already?
No, I heard they were all killed already.
Oh. It's like taking a really drastically different approach.
Oh, they're actually no. I'm sorry. They were cited with misdemeanor trespassing and released. The sign wasn't damaged, so they didn't get vandalism.
All right.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait,
The sign wasn't
I'm
damaged.
just confused. The sign wasn't damaged.
It wasn't
What do
like
they
permanently
qualify as it?
damaged.
You can just hang.
Like
Yeah.
they
something
could just
out of it.
remove the.
Yeah.
Like on the Hollyweed one, it almost looked like there were like pieces that they could just like shift around. So I wonder if it's like a jigsaw puzzle kind of situation where you can just like slide pieces around. So like it technically wouldn't damage the sign. They just like rearranged it a bit.
Oh.
So, in which case,
What I'm saying, they like
We gotta look
created
that
like
up.
a child's toy that you like move the pieces around. Like they've made it so appealing to change.
yeah, like a jigsaw puzzle.
Plus, every movie takes place up there, and they make it look really cool. And you can't actually get there at all. Like it's a really steep. We tried to hike up to the part above it, and it's a tough hike. It's like it's easy to, but you can park like way far up. But then they've now put like a giant chain link fence around everything. The people who were definitely breaking in, they knew they weren't allowed to be there.
Yeah.
You know what? Throw the book at them. I'll come around to Ashley's side.
No, Hollyweed, the Hollyweed guy also just got misdemeanor. I was just checking to see if he got vandalism instead, but they both got misdemeanor charges and released.
So we're learning
Wow.
you can do that for a small fine if you've got a sign that you want to put
worth
up.
it. It's worth it. It feels like, yeah.
And I think we got the marketing team and the ideas to go through with it.
Smartest people in the country.
Right?
Although we do have a filmed conversation of us planning this, which probably is not.
So what? So do the
On the internet.
insurrectionists, and they were allowed to go to Mexico on vacation. Fuck
That's
it,
true.
we're fine.
That's
Although
a
there
good
are two
point.
black people, so we're going to prison. We are going to prison for this.
Tooky, what's your story?
Oh boy. All right, I have been closely following the saga of quote unquote Gorilla Glue Girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull up the first image. Someone replied to Gorilla Glue's statement.
Yeah.
How is this similar packaging?
Yeah, they're both called Gorilla, and that's it.
That's it. That's it.
Somebody
That's it.
Somebody today did a thread where they started talking about the McDonald's hot coffee thing, which people were mistaken about it. That's a valid thing. McDonald's.
Yeah.
That was a definite valid
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm with you. And they're just like, but you know what? Anyone could mix up Gorilla Glue and like the original spray she had. They're the same thing. Black women wouldn't package Gorilla Glue like a product for white women. I was like, it's an aerosol. Yes, they would.
Yes.
Like, what's wrong with you?
As someone who from time to time lays their edges. I don't know if you can see it.
Lisa, wait, before we move on, does everybody know this story? Is everybody on
Yeah,
what's going
yeah.
on? Tookie, just sort of give us the breakdown really quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this woman. I believe her government name is Tessica Brown. She lives in Louisiana, and about a month ago, she was getting her, she was doing her own hair because, I mean, pandemic, you can't really go to the stylists the salon as frequently as you would think you could. So she ran out of a product called Got to Be Glue hairspray, which a lot of people use to like keep their hair in place, keep a mohawk in place, all sorts of things. Very versatile product. So she ran out of that. And somehow, I don't know what aisle in Walmart has these two products. I mean, unless your Walmart is that racist where the ethnic hair aisle is next to the tool shop. But I digress. So she decides, instead of Got to Be Glued, to use Gorilla Glue spray. And I mean, her hair was laid. Her hair looked great.
It looked amazing.
It looked really good. But like, she went on TikTok and was like, so my hair has been like this for a month. And I'm just, everybody is just so, I'm invested. Everybody's just like, how would you confuse Gorilla Glue with Got to Be Glued?
Somebody said that on Amazon, if you search for Got to Be Glue, like for some reason the algorithm does throw up Gorilla Glue. But again,
Let me see.
but like, I don't know. But if you like, it probably doesn't by now. But if you just look at the thing, it's Gorilla Glue. It's like it says metal on it. At that point, why are you putting it on your hair?
I don't understand.
When I just heard the story,
in the video, she like taps her head.
Yes. And it's like Pauly D from Jersey Shore had notorious like stiff hair, but like she tapped her hair up on her phone and you could hear clink clink. Like it was like that's not moving.
Rachel, this was the problem, RJ, and I mean, like, this is exactly what began to be an issue, right? Was that her hair couldn't grow. It was pressed down.
It's probably necrotic under there. That's like, there's so many questions. She has representation now.
Yeah.
And like,
wait, go ahead. Sorry.
Like, I'm just wondering, here's the thing. Like, she has a GoFundMe for $15K. She apparently didn't have insurance. I mean, that sucks. That's understandable in this shitty country. But like, why? I'm surprised like Dr. Pimple Popper hasn't gotten involved, or like one of those like TV doctors. And then like, just like, like, why is she like? And then she's trying to sue Gorilla Glue, and it's just like, what are you trying? What lawyer would take this case? Just go to the doctor. Like, you're doing everything, but the one thing you really need to do is get the fucking glue out of your hair.
I have a question about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to her Instagram page to look at this video, because somebody I followed posted like the video from her Instagram.
Really quickly.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
But when I went to there, she had like 500,000 followers or something, 300,000 followers. Was she already have a lot of followers, or did she get all of those followers because of the Gorilla Glue
She
thing?
got it because of the Gorilla Glue.
Gorilla Glue.
Also, she's
Now I know
40.
the way to go.
Also, she's 40. That should be emphasized. That's a 40-year-old woman doing that.
Yeah.
She's 40? Oh, she looks very, she looks great.
She looks great.
She looks so good.
I
Here's
don't
my-
want to be 40 called Gorilla Glue Girl.
Here's my question, and I don't know the answer to this. I don't do my hair a lot, but like, is there a limited amount of like? Was she like, oh fuck, I gotta put something in there right now? This is close enough. Like, did she have time to read the label? Is what I'm asking. Like, did she have?
I don't know where
time?
she was going, what she was doing. Like, I don't know what was so urgent that her hair needed to be laid. I don't know.
It's a pandemic. Like, no one needs to be that anywhere urgently.
I didn't want to comb my hair because I wore a mask today, so I just put a hat on. I don't know. I'm not the one.
Like when I first heard the story, I assumed that it was like an innocent mistake. Like she had, for some reason, like in her home, she had the two cans next to each other and she grabbed the wrong one and then didn't realize until it was too late. I didn't realize that she was like, this is the thing I should put in my hair.
Oh, like, that was it was intentional?
Yes, because she ran out of the first one.
I'm sorry, I thought she okay, all right.
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I thought too, was that it was just like innocent mistake. Like, oops, I grabbed the wrong can and didn't realize until it was too late.
Here's my other
question. Have you ever, though, been like, I wonder what would happen? Just for something in your life?
It. Like, never gotten that deep into like what would happen. But my other question is, if she hadn't put up the video, like, how long do you think she would have gone before seeking out? Because that's a month into that.
Yeah.
A day into it. She's like, I've washed my hair 15 times. Like, only 15 times and you've had it in a month? Like, I'm like 2 days into this.
For an appendix.
Like,
so,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I waited 2 months to get my
2
appendix
days
out,
into this debacle, I'm like, fuck.
Because a ponytail is not supposed to last that long. It's just
my hair hurt.
I was under the assumption that she had thought that it was still some sort of hair product. I didn't know that she knowingly was like, I'm going to put this spray glue in my hair.
Yeah.
And Gorilla Glue, like I've used Gorilla Glue. That's permanent.
Yeah, you don't mess with Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
It's no
I don't keep in a spray. That seems dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. I thought it would have had to be like a gel.
Kid is thinking about it though. Like he doesn't have to worry about it.
I mean, Smith's hair was laid, but at the same time,
beautiful.
But at the same time, every craft mom and scrapbooker is taking an L off of it because Gorilla Glue is gonna have to recall a lot of products.
It's all sold out, and it's probably like, I don't know, like. Here's the thing, I don't even use Gorilla Glue on my crop art. I use Elmer's on this shit.
If she would have used Elmer's, she would have been fine, probably.
She could have used Elmer's clear.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
people use Elmer's in their hair.
Yeah.
But that is a good weapon, though. If you're like out late at night, I might get some Gorilla Glue, like spray. It's like instead of mace. Like,
oh god.
What if she had gotten it in her hair? I mean, her eyes. Where she got it in her hair. Her eyes. Like, what if she had gotten it in her eyes and her eyes couldn't close? Like, what if her eyelids were like stuck open?
Oh my god.
Oh.
You know what I actually want to see is the Scrubs episode where a girl comes in with Gorilla Glue in her hair.
I would
the house one. Well, it's not lupus.
We ruled out everything.
It was never lupus. Stop saying lupus. It's not even a real disease, I don't think.
Lupus is real, Bacon. I'm sorry.
Not to me. I never saw it in the house.
So they like sent her home with like acetone wipes, and I'm like, at this point, it's probably like so like your skin is probably kind of growing and stuff. Like they need to just knock her out and then just like soak it in an ER or in the hospital.
Just
like,
can you? And maybe I'm just at this point. Maybe you can't. But so what happens if you try to like just shave industrial shave?
You can't. You'll be like chiseling shit.
It's like varnished. It's like
yeah,
it's a rock.
And also, like, skin at that point, she's probably got, like, ingrown hairs, and it's, like, it's gnarly under there. It could be
Yeah,
necrotic
people in the
under
chat
there.
are saying that it's, like, water activated. So,
Mhm.
like, she tried to wash it, and it made it worse. Somebody in the comments was like, put Goo Gone in your hair. And I was
No.
like, I feel like don't do that. Like, I feel like, and they were like, no, seriously, it'll be fine. And I'm like, who goes to someone's Instagram and they're like, you know what, you put Gorilla Glue
Like,
in your hair. I'm going to tell you to put
dermatologists-
Goo Gone in your hair.
I
And they're
mean-
like, I'm a chemist. And it's like, so okay, but like,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, there's an Instagram for doctors that anyone can download called Figure One. And I lost my password. I'm probably gonna like reset my password just to go and see what they're talking about these days on Figure One. It's because like all the dermatologists were like, yeah, acetone, and that's what the hospital gave her, just acetone
Yeah.
wipes. But that we're beyond wipes. It's like 30 days in.
Wait,
there was
tell
an
me
episode
more-
of Scrubs where, oh, sorry.
No, please, Lisa, tell me
There's
more about
always an
Scrubs.
episode
Yeah,
of
hold on.
Scrubs.
When's that coming
So
back?
I watched a lot of Scrubs when I was a kid. It's all coming back to me
This
now.
episode brought to you by Scrubs and Syndication.
Scrubs and MIT sponsored this.
By Scrubs, MIT, Gorilla Glue, unfortunately.
And breast cancer.
Breast cancer. Brought to you by breast cancer. Breast cancer. We're coming for you.
So this person gets a light bulb stuck up their butt.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen that one.
So, yeah.
All right.
And they're like, how are we going to get it out? And they're like, well, just pull it. And they're like, but then it'll shatter. And then there'll be glass in it. And it's like, da 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 da. And they have to get the janitor to help them because the janitor knows a lot about light bulbs. And he's like, the strongest part of the light bulb is the top of the light bulb. So they put in a balloon and inflated it and brought it down from the top because of the advice. But it was a moment when I was a kid that I was like, oh my God, if something weird enough happens and you go to the doctor, like, they don't know what to do. Like, they have
This
to bring in the
reminds me a
janitor.
lot of Baby Jessica, actually. When she was stuck in the well. That's probably what they did. They
Just
just
get
put
her
a
out of the
balloon.
well. That's still
Like, what do we do?
confounds me. Yeah.
Get her up.
I had to have surgery in August because I got so
Oh my
sad.
God, that's when I had my surgery. Were we having surgery at the same time?
Twinsies. Mine was because I got like the previous I got broken up with in June of 2019, and I was so sad that I just played Tetris 99 all the time on my Switch, and then I got so sad doing that I like messed up my thumb, and eventually like the cortisone shots didn't work, so I had to have surgery. And nothing is sadder than going into the orthopedist and having them be like, well, how did you injure it? And then being like, oh, I got sad because I got broken up with, and then going to get an x-ray and they're just like, are you pregnant? And I'm like, no, I just got broken up with. I have not had sex in so long. Leave me alone.
I think you should sue your ex.
Yes.
Which
He
switch?
gave me
Yeah.
the Switch, so
Yeah.
possibly it'll sue him.
Those
Possibly.
switch buttons hurt. If you play too long, those switch buttons start to
Yeah,
hurt.
I got a new grip thing on it, but yeah,
At least we'll just throw it across the room.
I'm gonna sue him.
Yeah, I would.
There's a list every year that comes out compiled from the ERs around the country about things that people got stuck inside of them that year. And they break it down by like ear, nose, vagina, and rectum, I believe, are the four things. Oh no, I believe urethra is actually part of that as well. Keyhole on a penis, which is the worst possible. I mean, they're all bad, but some of the things you can.
Women have urethras too.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry. That's absolutely
Men
true.
tend to be the ones who like do that.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've never met a girl who's like, one time I stuck something up my urethra. But I've definitely met guys who are like, I would never do that.
Yo, I stuck uncooked spaghetti up there.
What?
What?
That's like,
Have you ever done that thing where you put
I have
spaghetti in a hot dog and then you cook it and it becomes?
Oh, I would be too terrified of that ever happening.
Wait, what did you put spaghetti in a hot dog?
Yeah. You make like. I saw this on Hannah Breen's Instagram. She did it one time over the
course she
pandemic.
did,
You like
yeah.
cut a hot dog up, and then
Sounds
you put like you reconnect it with spaghetti, and then you boil it, and then you take it out. It's like like you can make like a little person.
No, that sounds like a struggle meal. I don't.
Terrifying.
Struggle meal.
It's like for kids to make them want to
It's
eat.
for kids.
Is that gonna make them want to eat? Just
Okay.
limp spaghetti and a hot dog?
That is a
You bet,
trouble meal.
kids.
I don't care.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but you could just give them the hot dog. I don't think the limp
Right?
spaghetti is a deal
Or
breaker.
the spaghetti.
That's a
Like,
struggle meal.
both of those are very kid-friendly foods separately.
No, this gives me
That's a
the
good
same
point.
energy.
I guess I never really thought about it.
Can I say my news story is very similar to what we're talking about?
Yeah, Bacon, you go for it.
Okay. Well, I'd just like to start off by saying this news story is brought to you by my perverted girlfriend. Who
Is this a Ruth special?
you know, this is a Ruth Green special.
Yeah, all right.
Ben, you were there when this happened. My girlfriend, when we watch football games, she just stares at the crotches, and she'll openly point out when something is on somebody's crotch or on somebody's butt or on that kind of stuff.
Something?
And well, we
Like-
were watching the Super Bowl, and before, like, they just switched to it, and she freaks out, and she's like, "Oh my God, Tony Romo has pee on his pants."
Oh, snap. Look at that. Look at that.
And so I was checking out the New York Post, as I do every morning, as it's actually get it delivered to my front door by a newsy kid from New York.
Get your pee news. Get your pee news.
Here's your paper, mister. Get out of here, you dirty street urchin. Oh, mister, I just can't come inside for a little bit. No, I got to read my stories.
So did he?
So here's the thing. I just want to. So this made me think, because at first I'm like, yeah, 100%. He totally. And you know what? If he did, he's on TV. I'm sure you only get a short bathroom break. And you
Oh,
don't.
he's not a football player. He's
No,
a.
He's up in the booth on the
Because
game.
I was thinking the football players get hit all the time. They've got to be like peeing.
They have a little thing that they like, a little blue thing that goes up, and they can like.
Hey, Matt, if you search Tony Romo pee pants, you'll get a much better picture than that.
I bet.
Plus, you'll have that in your search history, which will be perfect.
Yeah. So she pointed that out, and I like to. So totally, if he did, not a big deal. He's on TV. You only have so much time. But also, just like, I would just like to point out that sometimes this does happen. Especially if you're a taller gentleman and you go to wash your hands in the sink, you get splash up, and it kind of splash. Your crotch is right around that area. So
I
it
love
could be
this
water splash from.
CSI.
That's not splash up because there'd be surrounding splash. That's like
There is a
one
pause, yes.
particular spot, right?
Could it be drippage, like post pee drip?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean it's a pretty big drip.
I'm gonna
Do we
float-
think that there's any
I'm gonna
chance
float
that he
something
gorilla
different.
glued his penis to his pants?
What if he's just excited about the game?
Oh, it's
This-
cum.
Oh, this is pre.
It's a
Yeah.
little pre-cum.
Yeah,
This little
that's what-
pre before the game.
Yeah.
Well, I
Oh,
don't know.
Preety?
We could see if this was the pre-show. No, this was at halftime. So this is
I
right
mean, it
after
was a
halftime.
very exciting halftime
Yeah.
performance by the Weeknd.
Oh, it was great. The weekend was fantastic.
See,
It made me
where Tony
dizzy,
Romo- Where Tony Romo fucked up though is he's wearing khakis. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should
Don't ever do that.
Yeah, if you
just-
wear dark pants, you can pee yourself all you want. Nobody knows.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I always
Have
wear
you seen
black
the
pants.
Liam Neeson like somebody made a thread of just like all the times he's apparently wet his pants?
Yes.
It's a lot. It's a
Yes.
lot.
Liam Neeson pees himself a lot, especially, and here's the sad part. I think most of them, actually, I don't want to bring everybody down before we look at these pictures. So let's look at them first, and then I'll put them into context.
Oh man, I'm already feel down because I know it's coming.
I was worried that you're going to yell at me for showing pee again because I showed pee.
Nope. Instead, we're showing more pee.
Okay, more pee.
Liam Neeson pee pants. Yeah. Matt.
Computer enhance. Show us.
Zoom.
I'd like
Show
to
it,
see
Matt.
Enhance. Urinate.
Oh,
Oh,
damn.
Oh my.
That's why does anybody ever want to be famous? Like, I don't get the urge to be, because like if you pee your pants and you're famous, then people are going to be talking on it on a MIT Twitch show, and
Liam Neeson. It's right there.
But he's so casual about how he has peed himself in such a high volume. Of,
Yeah.
So much pee.
This
He's
time-
just walking with his hands in his pocket, like go to Starbucks. Yeah, I have a gallon of pee in my pants.
So at least
wish
a
I had that
couple of
kind of
those. Here's the sad thing. Yeah, at least a couple of those are like he's basically hammered drunk, and this is right after
What?
his
Mm.
wife of a really long time, Miranda Richardson, died. and he I think he just was having a bad time and just was not giving a fuck about life and about taking care of yourself. And when the love of your life dies, you're like, fuck it. If I got to piss and I don't feel like moving, I'm just gonna piss myself a little bit.
Are you
Terry
saying
Crews came for me for questioning Liam Neeson on Twitter once. Well, because it was when Liam Neeson said that he was gonna go and kill a random black guy because his friend had been raped by a black guy, and I tweeted to no one, absolutely no one, because Terry Crews weighed in. I was like, why did Terry Crews weigh in on this? I was really confused, and then Terry Crews searches his name and is like, because I want to, and then he spent a whole weekend just being a dick to me, and then followed me, and I was like, nope, and I had to block Terry Crews.
Terry Crews, aka Jim Crow, GYM.
GYM.
Ooh.
Terry.
I don't think I know who Terry Crews.
He's on the
It's for the best.
office linebacker?
He literally got famous for tackling somebody in a commercial.
Yeah.
Super Bowl commercial.
Who tackles somebody.
He's
I feel like I
he's
have
on
seen
Brooklyn
that.
99.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah.
He then had a great career, but that was literally what broke him. He was a sort of just a working, struggling actor.
Was he on Arrested Development?
Yes.
Yes.
He was.
That's where I went from.
I never got past the first episode of that.
He's in White Chicks.
Yeah.
He's a white chicks.
Like,
He
it's
is.
the longest
I know.
yard.
Probably where we all saw him.
Oh,
That's
the
probably
He
where
hosted Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for a season.
He was in what?
He hosted Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for a season.
Oh, that's right.
So that's obviously after Regis. Who else? hosted?
Meredith
Chris
Vieira.
Harrison.
Chris Harrison was the last host.
Cedric the Entertainer hosted it.
Also,
Entertainer hosted it.
Yeah,
Ben,
he
were
hosted
you
for a season.
speaking
It went
of-
Meredith, then Cedric, then Terry, then Chris.
How
Wow.
much do you guys watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Jess,
Who Wants
Jess,
to
why
Be
do you know so much about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Jess, please fill us
Yeah.
in on why you know so much
Sounds like
about this
an
show.
Alex.
This isn't the story that I
You can
found.
segue into your story, but yeah, fill us in first and then tell us your story.
Yeah, I was a contestant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
Wait for
I was-
real?
Became
Yeah.
obsessed.
I was supposed to be on the Terry Crews season, oddly enough. But then it was the last day of filming and they ran out of time, so I got bumped to the next season with Chris Harrison.
Yeah, where
How
Chris
did you
Harrison
do it?
almost kissed her.
Ooh.
He did not almost kiss me. He did hug me.
I don't know.
though.
It looked to me like he was about to kiss you. It was weird.
Yeah, apparently, so I was not given a copy of the episode, but somebody uploaded it on YouTube, and there's all these comments now about apparently Chris Harrison being into me or something from internet strangers saying that it looks like we had a thing going on. I don't know. He was very, very nice.
Who's going
That's
to tell Chris
fun.
Harrison to have a seat?
Oh, I was confusing it with Chris Hansen. I was like, why
Chris-
would the kid catch a
Yeah.
predator?
No,
I was like, that sounds like a
show up
trap.
and you want to be a millionaire,
no, Chris Harrison.
you're like, I'm not answering any questions. No questions from Chris.
I just thought there was
I'd
free
like to phone
lemonade.
I would like to phone a lawyer.
Have a seat, please. You're like, no.
I am not. No, Chris.
All
Jess,
the
how did
music
you
is
do?
typed in live too. That's really happening. While thump 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 thump, while you're trying to make a decision about
Oh, it's so loud. Is it as loud there?
It's all I mean, it wasn't crazy loud, but it was noticeable.
Was it in the CBS studios? Is that where they filmed it in? That
It was in
studio?
Stamford, Connecticut when I was on it.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Show.
Yeah.
Love the Morris.
And
That's
they
also the
busted a
home of
bunch
the
old people
annual-
to fill the seats.
How many
The annual
episodes did they
crossword puzzle
film?
competition.
There's an annual crossword puzzle competition there?
Oh yeah, you need to watch Wordplay, the 2006
I've seen that.
documentary
It's
on
pretty
Will
good.
Shorts. It's delightful. These men, they're just so cute, and they just do their crossword puzzles, and it's a good follow up to the Queen's Gambit. It's like if the Queen's Gambit was like a home movie
Sold.
That's what
about
I wish we had.
crossword puzzles.
I like crossword
Jon
puzzles.
Stewart's in it.
Yeah.
Aren't those guys speed crosswording?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like that goes against. I'm an old time crossworder. That goes against the whole.
Okay.
Well,
I
you
like
can't
to
have a
take my
contest
time
where
with
just
it.
everyone sits around with a cup of coffee, slowly drinking it. Like,
Hey, what do you think the answer to this one is? 14 down, and then you all talk about it a little bit, and then you fill it in and pen.
Social activity.
Yeah.
a documentary about you
Go for
just in a diner. in before times with their crossword crew.
Oh,
Dream.
This country started going downhill when they started doing crosswords so fast.
What's
When
Jess's
Yeah, well, the
story?
big scandal is that like the one of the main competitors is like a guy who does computers.
Does computers?
Oh yeah, there's like a whole
Yeah, I
thing
don't
where
know.
no, there's a thing where they like there are some people who do it by hand, like they use like a grid, and then there are people who have like computer programs to do it, and that was like a huge divide. And there's another divide where there's the person who does the USA Today crossword. I think it's a black guy, and he made them more like inclusive. Like the questions will be like all sorts of random people, or not like they'll be famous people, but it's like a more diverse array of answers, and that's like a controversy here. There's a lot of drama in crosswords.
Oh, how do they feel about
Yeah,
Wheel of
that's
Fortune
pretty cool.
crossword people?
I don't know. Yeah, I do not know.
they probably hate them, right?
All right.
I would look down.
Simpletons.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
You would be a valuable member. Beef Wellington he'd be the person to answer a bunch of stuff, I think, in that crossword. Like if I had to start a crossword team, he might be my first pick. Sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh no, go ahead. It's fine.
That was it. I was just gonna say he's my first pick on the crossword team.
Well, I was gonna say I feel bad for strong arming Jess into telling a different story than what she had intended to.
No, she's gonna tell her story. She's gonna tell her story. I do want to know who you called though. Who did you phone when you phoned?
Oh, well, no. So by the time I was doing it, there was no phone a friend because like you can just Google. So instead they had a different one called the +1, where I had a designated person in the audience that I could physically bring up with me. And so I had my dad was my +1. So he was like seated right behind me. And then when it came to a question, I could call him down to the stage and he was allowed to stay with me until I answered the question. So like if I used any other lifelines or whatever while he was there, he could still stay with me. Talk it out with me, which like in some ways is better than phone a friend because you only had 30 seconds for phone a friend, but he could stay with me for as long as I needed him to.
I always thought it was hilarious in Phone a Friend when they took like 25 seconds reading the question and then the person would be like, here's the answer. And then it would be, they'd hang up on them.
Yeah.
Or they spend so much time going back and forth. Hello? Yes. Hi. Are you doing well?
I'm on the
I like
show.
the people who are down to business.
Yeah.
I like the people who are like, I'm here on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and here's the question. Like they're like, no.
But of course you're on it. They know that. They called you earlier. It's not a surprise.
Yeah.
But I think it's way better to bring your parent there because if I had to like call my dad, then it'd be like, hold on, I got to get your mom on the phone. And then...
The other thing too, though, is I think with Phone a Friend, I think you could have like 3 people as designated phone a friends, and then whenever it came time for the question, you could choose whichever one you thought would help you the most. Whereas I had just my dad.
Ooh.
So like, if it wasn't in his wheelhouse, then like, it's not in his wheelhouse.
So did you pick your dad because you feel like he knows a lot, or was it like?
Were you sucking up to your dad, Jess?
Yeah. Trying to get in that will.
Originally, I was going to ask my sister.
She's dumb as hell.
It's going to make me look great. No, I was going to ask my sister because she's an incredibly intelligent woman. And so I was like, oh, like she would be great to have with me. And I was like talking about this in front of my dad. And he's like, well, I mean, the thing with you and Kristen is you have very similar sets of knowledge, the two of you, with like, you both travel a lot and, languages and history and whatever. You have very similar. So you might want to pick someone with like an opposite knowledge set. Like me, for example, I know a lot about sports and animals and whatever. And it's like,
he sold himself. He sold himself.
Know everything about World War II.
He helped me answer the question. So, it was worth it.
Nice.
What was the question? Do you remember?
Oh, I honestly don't remember. It was the $30,000 question.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something about animals. And I don't remember exactly. Lisa might remember.
I watched this clip once and probably more recently than Jess, so I might know.
But
Name
it was some kind of animal question, and I had just no clue. And so I brought him down, and he was able to.
Yeah, it's always good to know a sports and animal person. That's
Always
like
good.
Yeah.
Ryan is who I would bring also on this show
He's a
if
big
I was
sports
to bring
animal.
one person.
I would probably.
Ryan loves sports, animals. No, that's probably his weakest.
Do
subject.
you think they have a list of people you can't bring? Like, you cannot call Ken Jennings? I'm like, no.
Well, I could have brought him if I wanted to, but
Yeah, do you have to know the person? Like, really, they're like, I'd like this.
I met Ken
Like,
Jennings at Sketchfest because he knew, like, I hosted a show with Bill Corbett, and so he knew Bill Corbett. I could have gotten Ken Jennings as my phone friend if I wanted.
Unfortunately, though, Brandi, you couldn't bring Terry Crews because you burned that bridge. And so when it
I
comes
feel
to
like
it-
he's dumb as hell and would actually lose me money. I'd be like,
I don't know. He's
Terry,
got a season of hosting experience. Maybe he picked up some tips and tricks.
I don't know. He seems kind of dumb. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't know what it is.
Can I call a past host of the show as my phone?
I would call
friend?
Meredith Vieira like ahead of all of them.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would also call Chris Hansen and not Chris Harrison.
Yeah, I'd be like, how's it feel to be put on the spot now, Chris?
The question is lemonade
Question
or
is,
iced
where were
tea,
you?
Chris?
Yeah,
Lemonade
Chris.
or iced tea?
My question is, do you know this username, Chris? Fuck.
In England, there was I think they made a documentary about this, but people, there was people lied together and they won the $1 million, but it was illegal. She was in the audience and he had a partner who would cough. It was like the worst thing when you went back and looked at it. She would literally just cough on the correct answer. And so when you go back and hear it, this woman's just repeatedly coughing all the time. And yeah, he won the $1 million, but then they went back and looked at it and then they got arrested.
There was another one where somebody had 4 pagers strapped to their body, like one on each arm and one on each leg, and so somebody would page the appropriate pager.
Ooh.
For the right answer.
How did they get caught?
I think
the vibrator.
Thought it was just vibrating, yes.
Hey.
Why are you doing the
Rage, I'm gonna need a second.
Yeah.
Or they didn't, like, one of the pagers actually had, like, the music on. It was just some, like, shitty cover of a song. Like, oh no, my kneecap.
There's a Sky pager that actually reads that when they have the person who has to read you the page. That's a really old school thing. If nobody knew about that, you used to call Sky pagers, and they really fancy pagers would have somebody on the other end of the line who you would just tell them what you wanted to page, and then they would have to write it into the person's pager. So you used
that
to,
sounds like an exact precursor to OnStar.
Yeah.
That sounds like the OnStar of talking to people. Although I think you can talk to people through OnStar, but I think they just connect you. I don't think that you play telephone with the OnStar agent.
Somebody be like, "Yo, let's go burn one 911." Meet you like at the corner, and then they would write that.
What's the name of this service?
It was called Sky Pager. It was like
my God.
pagers back in the day.
Every time I call, I'd be like,
Fancy
Sky Pager, write this down for me. Sky Pager.
Sky pager sounds like a pager where you just get like an airplane pilot to like write messages in the
Yeah.
sky for you.
He pulls along the thing.
Like, so and so needs weed.
What a dress! What a dress! Hold
I'll
on.
take you to him.
Sky Pager. I need a plane up there now. You need to say, what a dress, dog?
Jess, we hijacked your story. What's your real story?
I probably should have told the millionaire story instead. It's probably way more interesting. But no, I had an intriguing interaction at the dry cleaners the other day. So I had to bring a sweater in because I got red hair dye on it. I didn't. The hairdresser got red hair dye on it, and I didn't realize until I got home. And red hair dye is like impossible to get out of anything. Like even if it had been like black or brown hair dye, it still would have been hard, but I might have been able to get it out myself. But red hair dye is impossible. So I had to bring it to the dry cleaner, except I actually had my dad, the same sports animal dad.
Same dad. You didn't dump him.
Same dad.
So you got the question right.
Wow, so he's featured in all of your stories.
Featured in, yeah, any story that's halfway interesting involves my dad. So
I'm sorry.
years
Before we
ago-
go on with the story, does he have any facial hair, or I need to visualize
he has
him?
no
Sure,
facial
yeah.
hair.
Okay.
Not helpful.
Glasses.
New Balance shoes.
Sorry.
New
Glasses.
Balance
New
shoes.
Balance. Yeah.
Take
Khakis
a
with a little
picture of
bit
your
of pink.
dad. Just show us your dad.
Show me your dad.
Let's not beat around the bush here. We all just want to see Jess's dad.
What's that,
There's
Dad?
the dad.
Uncooked spaghetti in his people.
Show us that sweet dad. Okay. Wow, I'm the only one.
But he's a tallish gentleman, maybe 6'2", gray hair, glasses.
Nice.
Um,
How soft are his hands?
I'm gonna see. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I have a picture of him on Facebook. Just a minute.
If you have a picture of just his hands,
Actually,
too.
Where is he? Okay, how do I?
Don't do this.
Can I do this?
Yeah. I could just Google it if you want.
Just Google
Okay.
Jess's dad's hands.
Yeah. I'll show up in the search already, though.
Okay, that's my dad over here.
Ooh. All right.
Those are
Oh,
my-
wow. All right.
He's
That's
so
him.
pale compared to all of you. I didn't even see him.
I didn't either. I was
He's a ghost. He's your dad.
Yeah. Hey, the ghost of Christmas present was with you that night.
Did Jess leave?
Guys, you made fun of Jess and now she left.
No.
You made fun of her dad, so she left.
There's no way that's true.
No, she's back.
Sorry. I just stopped screen sharing and I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
We were all horrified. We're like, oh no, we drove her off.
Oh,
Her dad paid.
yeah.
You're so mean to my dad. But anyway, so ages ago, he used to own a dry cleaner. And so for some reason, I was like, oh, since we're bringing something to the dry cleaner, we must send the dry cleaning expert to drop it off. I don't know why. Like, he wasn't going to do it's not a DIY dry cleaner.
Be an expert to drop it off.
So he went to go drop it off, and then I went to go pick it up. And then, so I go in, I give the woman my ticket. It's this like Eastern European woman. And she comes out and she brings it to me and she's like, this is with the hair dye, yes? And I was like, yeah. She's like, it's came out. I was like, great, awesome, perfect. I was nervous. You're wonderful. You're great. Thank you. And she goes, don't challenge me.
Oh.
I was like,
Ooh, that's
what?
Is this a porn?
I just told you you did a great job. Like, I wasn't gonna challenge you. And I'm like giving her my. There will be more of the accent. Don't worry. I give her the credit card, and she starts like, she's holding my credit card, but is like not swiping it yet. And I'm not friendly. I'm like, I'm not a friendly person. Like, I think I'm nice, but I'm not friendly. So I'm just like, I'm trying to get out of here. I'm not looking to chat with this woman. But then she's like holding my credit card. And she starts talking to me. And she's like, your father, he brings this in, yes? And I was like, yep, yeah. My dad came, dropped it off. And she's like, yes. He used to have dry cleaner, yes? And I was like, yep. He did. She remembered my dad, apparently. She's like, yes. He comes in here and he drops off the sweater and he says to me, what are you going to use to clean it? And I say, why do you want to know?
Ghost of Christmas past.
Okay. He tells me he used to own a dry cleaner. And I say, oh, okay. It makes sense. He seems old school, like me. It's like,
She was totally hitting on your dad.
Long story short,
Yeah.
they're now married. This
Yeah.
is
And
My
Stepmom.
stepmom.
And
New
so he
stepmom.
comes in here and he says he used to own dry cleaner. And I say, don't challenge me. Like, he's going to come in. He has a dry cleaner. I have a dry cleaner. Don't challenge me. He's just dropping off a sweater.
This is a meet cute.
And again,
This
still
is-
holding my credit card, not running it. So she and so then she starts talking more about like her history of dry cleaning, and I was like, please ma'am, I just want my sweater, I just want to go home. And she's like, yes, I've had dry cleaner for all these years, and I have my daughter, and she will get things dirty and then wash them. And I say, what the fuck are you doing? I have this, why don't you bring it to me? You know, you want them to be independent, but at the same time, I'm like, I have this, why don't you bring it in? You know? And I'm old school. I'm like your father. We are old school. People tell me to learn these new things. I say, fuck that shit.
Old school.
I'll tell you right now, if I could drop stuff off at a dry cleaner for
Yeah.
free, I would dry clean everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Boston and get my shit dry cleaned at her place.
Yeah.
How
And
does
she just,
dry
like,
cleaning have a final boss?
No,
Like,
it's
Yeah.
It was the final, honestly, like so many times. I don't know how many times she said, "Don't challenge me."
oh
And
my
I was
God.
like, I don't know. Now
Do
I
you
feel kinda
think that
tempted to
she's
challenge
killed
her.
other people's dads who've come in and challenged her? And she's like, I could take you on
Oh.
a dry cleaning. She's like, oh, no.
Absolutely, like those dry cleaning chemicals are like.
Counterpoint, I think she wanted you to challenge her.
I know.
Yeah,
well,
You
you
say
know,
something enough.
Maybe
likes
it's
to
the code to be
duel.
like,
Very.
hey, you could bring in something with blood on it.
yeah.
Right.
I won't
He's
even
cool.
don't even
He's
say
old
anything.
school. He knows. We keep secrets.
Why don't you guys have a show on this network that's just called Challenge the Dry Cleaner? And then, like, every week.
What did you bring me this week, eh?
I got
Like,
20
I have to write this as a character and like
You
start
will
doing material with her.
Well, maybe she is
is.
trying to like flirt with your dad, and that's kind
Yeah.
of like her way of just be like, "Oh yeah, you own dry cleaning.
No.
I still own
Don't
dry
challenge me.
cleaning. Yeah, no." And
I
we're
mean, how did
old
she
school.
know? Do you think about like how did she know it was your dad? Like when he came in, he was like dropping off a lady's sweater, and she's like, "Oh, is this for your wife?" And he's like, "No, it's for my daughter." And she's like, "Oh, so wife dead.
So
Okay."
you're the- oh, this will be no challenge at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Challenge me, am I right?
What if she was like a Bond villain and like she just like the dry cleaning Bond villain, just like I don't
The
even know what her
what?
name would be. It's just like the Martinizer. Like,
Yeah. And then still the whole time, just like clutching my credit card without running it. I'm like, dear, I'm gonna die in this dry cleaner.
That's the worst when they take you hostage, and because I am nice and I'll get into I'm polite too. So like if somebody starts talking, I'll just start talking back, and now all of a sudden I'm like, I didn't really want to be in this conversation with you about this thing, but now here we are, and I just want my sandwich.
Like
That's
I was
how it is
really
in
trying
Minnesota
so hard to like
constantly.
ride that line of like being like polite and whatever, but also trying to let her know that like I have no interest in engaging with you in this conversation. I don't like people.
Yeah, and the Archie cartoon, the entrance is a fake laundromat, so maybe she is a
Ooh. Okay, you guys, we gotta stop talking about it. I don't want to get whacked.
She's well, because now, like I say, I feel like she was daring me to challenge her basically. So now I feel like I have to grab like I don't know. I have to like I'll like
Do
go
it.
to a thrift store wedding dress.
Gorilla glue.
Topical.
you should take a sweater in that is just like red because it was made that way, and then be like, yeah, get this out. You know, it's like get this dye out of the fabric it was intentionally put on. Oh, you're so
Got 'em.
good. I'll
You
check
got 'em.
it.
I
You come back
challenge.
next week, it's just a white sweater.
Like,
Yeah, this was nothing.
Yeah.
And then there's just a tag on it, like, you just bought a white sweater. It's like, don't challenge me.
Don't challenge me.
How old do you have to be an old school dry cleaning before you're just putting something in a washing machine?
It's just soap and
Beating with
lye.
rocks.
Yeah, like I'm very old school dry cleaning.
She just throws it in the river.
Shit.
Just dipped in the
That's the whole point, though, of dry cleaning, right? There's no water. Am I wrong about that?
So funny you say that, Brandi. When my grandpa passed away, he had secretly spent his money on like a bunch of really weird shit. And like, I don't want to go on a tangent, but I was totally okay with it because I was like, he's an old man. It's his money. He can spend it on whatever he wants. And the rest of my family was like, he should have given it to us. And I was like, well, you know, you didn't get it. But one of the things he bought was a dry cleaning business. But it was like really bad. So my dad was like, fuck, what am I going to do with this? And he like went to sell it. And the EPA was like, you have to pay so much money because the place had basically just been dumping their shit like back. Like it was like an EPA like super fun site. My dad inherited that problem, and like that's
God.
like the shittiest thing that you could leave your child.
A super fun site.
Oh my god!
So, Jess, be glad your dad got rid of that.
I know.
dry
So
cleaning.
the dry cleaner.
Well, if you hang out back there, it seems like that's a good place to get superpowers. Maybe
That's true. That's true.
Try it.
just give it a shot. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Jess, we have a request in the chat for you to say that's too much bread with that accent. I assume it's for Rachel's reel.
I can get that. Do you want it right now? Do you want it
Yeah,
later?
do it right now.
Do it now.
I'm gonna look shocked.
Okay.
Do it live.
That's too much bread. Challenge me.
There it is.
I'm sorry, my reaction was before the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were going to get shot after.
Need to take two? Do you want it this way?
We're moving on. We don't have time to pick up another shot. We're moving on.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
What's the movie? What's the Hitchcock movie that takes place in Mount Rushmore? Vertigo, is it? I don't know.
The birds.
A little kid in the background right before the person gets shot, and you can see him cover his ears early. That's reminded me, Lisa, when you were doing that. National Treasure 2. Yes, that's right. Sorry, I forgot that. That was on me. We are reaching the end of our show. We're coming to the end. We have talked about so much. Gorilla Glue. And that's really the only thing I'm remembering. But no, there's some starter jackets and Gorilla Glue and going to the hospital, scrubs.
For specifically Tina in the comments. So basically the antibiotics had to bring the inflammation down before they could operate. So I had to wait 2 months for the inflammation to decrease so that they could take the appendix out so that they could do the laparoscopic surgery. So that's why it was 2 months. But I was cured of appendicitis, and I just had to go back once I had a healthy appendix and they removed it, because once you get it once, you are really likely to get it again. So it was like a preemptive for my next appendicitis. They can treat it with antibiotics. They usually don't, though, because they will have to take it out eventually. Sorry, I didn't want to leave that.
Boom.
Oh, boom. There we go.
We were all waiting for the end of that. Perfect.
Thoughts on tying up everything today? What do we think? What do we think? Sort of what was going on? What do we think was this is a new thing? I'm trying to think
Chemicals,
what?
a lot of chemical discussion.
Mm-hmm. I think if Tony Romo put a little bit of Gorilla Glue at the end of his urethra, we wouldn't be talking about this.
But I think maybe he got grits on his pants.
He got grits. Maybe it's grits.
Maybe
it's
Boston is racist. We've learned that, and also a super fun site.
Yeah, a lot of super fun sites in Boston too.
Poop in the bed.
Poop in the bed. Yeah. Horribly racist to one of their greatest sports legends of all time. Big shocker.
Bill Russell is vaccinated, by the way. Protect that man at all costs.
Yes. Protect Bill Russell at all costs.
My mom is getting vaccinated on Saturday.
Yay!
Yay to all the parents getting vaccinated. Yay to everyone getting vaccinated. Get the vaccination. If you're watching and you're on the fence, don't be on the fence.
Wait, is the dry cleaner vaccinated? Because she also needs to be protected at all costs.
All costs.
I don't know.
She just gets back like, don't challenge me with this.
Don't
shows up. Don't challenge me. We'll go infect someone else.
Yeah, if you like the show, follow and subscribe. 2MB Studios has shows 7 nights a week, 7 days a week as well, and super fun shows. So follow and subscribe to get all that info and give us that sweet, sweet, filthy lucre to keep making really fun art for you. I want to thank all of our guests for being on the show tonight. Super fun having you all. Let's do really quickly if there's anything you want to plug. Bacon, what do you want to plug? Anything?
Yeah, Mondays, Poof, the Magical Game Show. Me and my roommate do a bunch of fun stuff right here on 2MB Studios on Twitch, 8 p.m. Super fun. And also we have a podcast called 91 Donkey Lane. It's about two idiots who live in a magical apartment complex, and we don't get a lot done. We mostly just bicker. So
it's a ridiculous show, so check it out. Well, that's wherever podcasts are available.
Or 91donkeylane.com.
91donkeylane.com.
Use code bacon.
Lisa, thanks for being on the show. You want to plug anything?
No. Please don't follow me on any social media platforms. I have no followers.
Already.
I'm content where I'm at.
I like it. Ashley, you want to plug anything?
Good.
Sure. I mean, I'll plug Quarantine Action Wrestling Thursdays on 2MB at 8, but I feel like most people watching already watched that, so it's a useless plug. I'm mostly just going in my head how no one bought up the cat filter, and I'm upset that we didn't talk about
that was my backup. That was my backup, just in case the pee thing. Yes.
We're going to watch it real quick.
Mr. Paul, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video show.
Those eyes.
You might want to.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter
It
And
is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got Kristen here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Prove it.
I can see that.
Like, can you see that?
See that? That's not what
I
I
love
see.
that the judge himself uploaded the thing. It said, "Don't upload."
Yeah.
Recording was prohibited.
Oh. I'm not a cat. I'm right here.
That's exactly what a cat would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's someone
yeah.
in Texas whose cat hasn't been paying rent and has just admitted to the bar and has been finessing humans like the whole time.
Oh, it's just a filter again. I'm judge. Of course, I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat. I shower just like everyone else, licking my own butthole. What are you talking about? I'm not a cat.
Yeah, let's move forward.
I am not a cat.
Please, no laser pointers, please. But I am not a cat.
Great. Tooky, thanks for being on the show. What do you want to plug?
Thank you for having me. If you don't know, now you know. I'm co-host. My co-host David was in the chat. Watch Medea's Family Witness Protection, David. Every Friday, right here on 2MB Studios at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. I do problematic things for an hour.
Yeah.
Vague and enticing.
I host the Rehash, a really fun show. Check it out. It's really great. It's really great. Jess,
I
thanks.
like it. I'm a big fan.
Lisa,
I've seen it once because normally it's not at a time that I can really watch it. But when I saw it, I was like, this is so good. I should watch this more.
It's on YouTube, except for we'll talk about the last episode.
Uh-oh.
I have a deeper grudge with Tyler Perry now because
Jess, thanks for being on the show. Anything you want to plug?
Thank you. Ashley already plugged Quarantine Action Wrestling. So sleepover every other Saturday here on 2MB. And we have a big Valentine's Day special coming up on Valentine's Day, where you'll see a bunch of hormonal preteen girls having a Valentine's Day slumber party. And there might be some special guests. So
That usually sounds like, usually when people say that, they're special guests. Nobody's ever been like, there might be special guests, and then they're just.
It's literally a might because we haven't had confirmation from them yet.
So maybe you'll be the first one to tease it like that and then not have them.
There might be. I didn't promise you special guests.
We should all start doing that. I'd be like, you guys want to come over for dinner? There might be special guests, and there's not. There's not.
Oh, I always do that when I'm hosting our home club. I'll be like, we have a special guest. Could be Chris Rock.
You know,
Todd.
Show up. Like,
you know that girl who put Gorilla Glue in her hair? She might be there.
I'll just lie to them. I'll be like, could be Jerry
Could be
Seinfeld.
anybody,
And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, it turns out it's just Todd, the open mic. God
Todd.
damn it.
Great, Jess. Thanks for that. And Brandi, of course, thank you for being on the show. Anything that you would like to plug?
Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific, and so that's 10 p.m. Central and 11 p.m. I am going to be doing some stand-up for Alice Wetterland's show on her Instagram, and I assume it's Alice Wetterland. It's like Instagram. I don't know. But yeah, drop by. I'll be doing like 10 minutes of time or something. But other than that, no.
Yeah, Brandi's hilarious. Try to catch her set. You opened for Judah Freelander a couple weeks ago, and it was hilarious. By a couple weeks ago, it might have been months ago. Time has no meaning.
Who knows?
Time has no meaning anymore.
I saw that too. I tuned in just for you and I left.
Lisa is obsessed.
Lisa is a super fan.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I like Brandi a normal amount.
Wait, you're Lisa from the chat. My number one fan.
I came in when we were backstage and I was like, Brandi, it's Lisa from the chat.
Oh, I thought you meant just the chat that was happening at the moment. I was like, yeah, you are in the chat, Lisa.
Oh.
Oh my god, that just clicked for you. Yes, I'm the one who just.
I just thought you were Lisa who just said hello in the chat. I was like, yeah, I know. I just read it, Lisa.
Yeah, Tina, this is Lisa Oakley, are you surprised too? I'm in the chat a lot on this, but I've never been on I've been on a couple of shows, but not in a long time. But like, I'm like really, really hot in the chat here.
Never meet your heroes. folks.
Never meet your heroes, except it's happening right now.
It's made my night.
I thought you knew this whole time.
No, this is.
I'm getting really
gotta go.
I'm sorry.
But don't follow her.
Yeah,
Please don't follow me.
Dare follow
You can
her.
catch me in the chat sometimes.
That's it.
that's her
Yeah.
plug.
I'm usually in the chat for run on.
He's
if
in
you wanna
AOL
talk
chat
to me.
rooms.
Lisa's an alias.
That's my Kid Club run on is 9 p.m. on Mondays. It's a really fun word game show I host as well. So catch all these shows. Follow all these comedians except for Lisa. And support support the arts. We're all doing really fun stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.